Yeah, and welcome to another Ask Me Anything session. Now, this is kind of the third video in a series of groups of questions I got asked all the time, so it would have been too long of a video to squash into one. So, this is the third part. This is pedals. This is another question I get all the time. Great thing happened to me recently, and I'll do it real quick and then I'll explain what I'm using. As you may have seen, I'm friends with Tim Pierce now, like one of the most highly regarded session guitar players ever. Incredible guy. I'm up at his house all the time now. We're jamming, we're putting out some products together, all this stuff. So I first start going up there and I'm like, this is going to be freaking awesome. I'm going to have like the guru of sounds telling me all the sacred boutique pedal knowledge, and I'm going to buy all this new gear and get these amazing tones, and it's going to be, we're going to talk for hours. It's going to be a total pedal geeks, tweakers, just dream of dreams. And then that plane, that rocket I was riding high, just totally ran out of gas and took a nosedive when I started asking him questions. Tim, what do you think about this? Tim, what do you think about that? What pedal? What about this boutique pedal over here? What about this? Dude, I don't care, is what he said. I was like, what? And he's like, I don't think about gear that much. I don't really care. Like, I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, like I use this pedal here a lot. This is a $90 pedal. I use this delay over here, another $90 pedal. I use this thing over here, this reverb pedal, $90 pedal. Some of these down. I'm just like, really? He's like, yeah, I just don't care. Like, dude, just concentrate on your parts and like, work on your craft, become a good guitar player. Like, work on your technique. I was like, oh, really? Why'd you say that? But it's true. Now, that being said, I love pedals, and I don't have cheap amps. We both play the same amp. We both play a divided by 1323, and they're not cheap. I'll say it that, but I love it. Now, pedal-wise, I've had everything under the sun. Thousands and thousands, well, don't tell my wife, but thousands and thousands of dollars on pedals, and now I'm back to a board that you could basically put together at Guitar Center. So, I will say this, of all the boutique purchases that I make where I happily spend the money, and this isn't a boutique versus cheap thing, but when I'm going to spend the money personally for my tonal preference of the things that I like, I spend the money on overdrives, distortions, fuzzes. That's where I like to spend my money. If I have a budget, I like getting those because I'm not super into the modeler style distortions, like in the Line 6 and that kind of stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the digital copies of the pedal. So I like actual boutique overdrives. Now, that being said, the pedal I use a lot lately is a $100 pedal, and I'll show you that pedal in just a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'll get the boutique pedals out of the way. Super into these guys. Exact Tone Solutions. You've heard this Imperial Overdrive probably on 200 of my videos. Love this pedal. Incredible stuff. They're a little more on the expensive side. Definitely a boutique pedal. Super well built. They're amazing. The customer service is insane. This pedal was actually a gift from Greg, who worked there, because he said I helped him out with his country videos for a gig he had. Love you. You're awesome. These three pedals right here, all gifts as well. I freaking got the coolest friends ever. I'm super grateful. Red Snapper, one of my favorite pedals of all time. You've heard this on a bunch of videos I've done too. There's videos on the channels where you'll hear this. So go back and check those out. Just put in like, pedals, gear, whatever in the search bar. You'll hear it. Amazing. I don't think they make this circuit anymore of the Red Snapper. Freaking sounds amazing. Killer hard rock pedal. So if you can find one, love this thing. These two were both, well, I have another pedal down here, this Nobles pedal. These were all gifts from Tim Pierce. Love that guy. He's freaking awesome. This is his signature pedal made by Rocket Pedals. Yeah, Rocket Audio Designs. Killer pedal. One of my friends nicknamed this the Balls pedal. It sounds big. I mean, it's a freaking awesome, awesome pedal. It's kind of like a overdrive and a boost together. Super, super cool. This pedal, the reason it's not on my board is because I've been, in the stuff I've been doing with Tim lately, up at his house, I've been taking just this one pedal, and I've been using that. It sounds amazing. I don't know what it's based off of. It's just a really nice, natural overdrive. It's a Vimaram, I think that's how you say it. Jan Ray pedal. Super, super, super cool. Other than that, the pedals that are on my board are what I use 90% of the time. And let's get into that. But one other thing I wanted to say, again, pedals are super cool. If I had any suggestion to you, get what you can afford. Spend the time on learning how to play rather than obsessing over gear. To me, that's time well spent. The gear stuff is awesome. If you can afford it, it's awesome. If you're already a great player, it's awesome. Or if you're into players like the Edge and all these other great players that have pedals as their sound, it's kind of like their thing. They use delays, all this other stuff. Dude, go for it. Or dudette, go for it. Spend the money, get a cool board, do all that. For all intents and purposes, what I use, you can get super cheap. You can get pretty much these pedals almost anywhere. So let's zoom in for a closer look on the pedals and see what I'm using. Alright, so as you saw in the video I just showed you of the gear, or as I may be panning to right now as I'm talking, I go into a Boss chromatic tuner. From there I go into a full tone Clyde wah, which goes into a Nobles OD1 overdrive. From there, I go into a divided by 13 lift, which is a boost pedal, into an exotic RC booster. It's another boost pedal, but it has volume, gain, treble, and bass, so it allows you to kind of tweak with the tone that way. If you already like the sound of what you got and want just a little more, maybe a little treble for a solo, perfect pedal. Into a Strymon Lex pedal. From that, I go into a pedal which I just got because I saw it on Tim's board and I was asking him about it. And it's since I've seen that, I've been doing a lot of research and I've seen this pedal on a lot of huge session guys' boards. Not that there's that many, but if all the session guys have it on their board, that's usually a good, good indicator. One of the M5 line 6 or the M9, which just allows you to do 3 of the effects at the same time. Sounds freaking great. Love that thing. From that, I go into probably my favorite delay ever at this point, and I've had a lot of them, is the line 6 Echo Park. I really like that pedal. Has modulated delays that are a little bit darker, or the option of having a modulated delay, which is a little bit of chorus. But the echoes are nice and dark as they repeat. And then it also has a switch to where you can turn off the pedal, but the repeats will keep going. So if you're out of your solo, you click it off, the repeats go until the feedback or the repeat amount tails off naturally. From that, I go into another huge pedal that I just freaking love, the Strymon Flint, and it's a tremolo / reverb pedal. So the sound of my amp, and it's at a whisper volume, so, you know, that is not the sound of my amp. Let me turn off my pedals. So as you can see, a little bit of gain, like maybe like enough for a Hendrixy, kind of a thing. 9 times out of 10, I'll turn on the RC booster or my lift pedal. So right there, you can get away with tons of rock. Right there, it's just the amp and a boost pedal. And that, to me, that's where I live probably 90% of the time. I never set my gain pedals, boost, overdrive, whatever, very high on the gain because I like to stack pedals together using 2 pedals in tandem oftentimes, so like rhythm and then lead. So I'll set the gains, you know, the knobs about like this, or, you know, the equivalent of being on, let's say, like 2 on the gain. So even on this pedal right here, that's what it's at. Now my lift pedal gives a good boost in overall volume. But what I really like about that pedal is it's super transparent. So I get the sound of my amp just a little bit more. Like I just give it a little kick in the pants. Now I can turn that up and get a more... Put some echo on there. Always when you're trying to demo something, just choke here, choke there, choke everywhere. I had to redeem myself a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Again, those were just boost pedals, right? With the delay pedal, which I love. Again, I set it on the analog setting with a little bit of modulation. That's how I really like the delays. Just fattens it up a little bit. And the delay was turned up a little bit. I usually just have the delay on just a little bit. Just so you can barely hear it. Fatten stuff up just a little bit. So that's usually how I use it. Now this is two boost pedals together. Check this out. Fan by itself. Okay, so those are boost pedals. Love boost pedals. Now the Nobles OD1 bang for the buck overdrive pedal, freaking awesome. Now again, I don't have my gain set up very high. I like just a little bit more than what the amp's already giving me. Now that being said, I can turn up the level and the drive and get more out of the pedal. Cleans up great with the volume. Right, but I would normally set it at about 2 and then use a boost. So let's say when I combine the Nobles with the RC booster. So it's a nice natural overdriven sound. Those two pedals are great. Say if you got a gig you can't turn up, like small club. I know a lot of guys that play do church gigs or something like that where it's a very volume sensitive situation. So getting a really natural boost pedal or overdrive is a perfect option because it allows you to get that kind of cranked up amp sound at very low volumes. Perfect for that. Now, kind of on the more effecty side of stuff, I'm a huge vibe fan, but lately I haven't been using as much vibe, and I've kind of replaced that with tremolo and a rotating speaker sound, which is, this is the Strymon Lex pedal. Love this thing. So that can almost get me in vibe territory right there. But if and that's at the slow setting, but if I speed it up, it gives this really cool. You can use both slow and fast in the same passage. Right, so you can tweak with it that way, turning it on and off or slow and fast while you're playing. It gives a really cool extra little sound. Kind of Beatley is where I first kind of heard that sound. Peter Frampton, David Gilmour, all that kind of stuff. The Strymon Flint. Now these are the only two real boutique pedals on my board, other than the wah, which was another gift. Freaking wife, lover, she's awesome. I mean, gets me a killer boutique wah and an amazing guitar, and I was like, you're it. We're together forever. So then there's the reverb. I'm not a huge reverb fan, but this pedal's kind of made me a believer. They have another pedal called a Blue Sky. It's sick. Okay, so that's just kind of a spring reverb, which is naturally on an amp. They have a plate reverb and that kind of stuff. You can get different sounds. You can get more of it. Turn up the decay. I'm not a huge fan of giant reverbs, although it's really popular today. So if you're going to do, you know, any contemporary pop or anything like that, a lot of church music, a lot of different things like that, tons of reverb. So a lot of the indie bands, real reverb. If you don't have a spring reverb or something on your amp, perfect option. Wicked pedal. Plus, it has one of my favorite tremolos ever. Now, just a little tip I learned from Tim. Tremolo on distorted guitars set in the back of a mix makes things sound huge. And you can't tell why it sounds so awesome, but it's because there's this little bit of mild pulsating distorted guitar in the back of a track. It makes tracks sound huge. So he did set me up with a bunch of awesome secrets, although you don't have to have an expensive pedal to do it. But that is one of the things he showed me, and it works amazing. So the other pedal I have that's cheap, 120 bucks, brand new, the M5. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I've had all the boutique choruses, phasers, flangers. They're great, but budget is a lot of people are like, look, I don't have a lot of money. Buy that pedal. For the effects, all that stuff, if you have a little bit more money, buy the M9. You get 3 effects at once. Couple, like an overdrive and a boost, you're done. It sounds great. When you're out live, you're not going to be able to tell whether it's a $400 chorus or that. Now, for the most part, let's say the average non-Eric Johnson-eared person probably won't be able to tell. Girl in the crowd, if you're a guy, the girl in the front row isn't going to care. She's going to be like, that sounds cool. That's awesome. I like that. I don't know what that is. It sounds great. If you're a girl, the guy out there that's sitting like this, he might know. I don't know. He's probably not going to care. If you're playing great, he's just going to be like, you are amazing. I don't even care what you're playing. You're awesome. So let's check out some of the M5 sounds. I'm going to use this pedal for modulation, choruses, flangers. There's reverbs, delays, all that other stuff in here, but I typically use it for modulation. Phaser is one of the things that you might come into contact with like old Southern rock. Van Halen uses a Phase 90 on a lot of solos. The Eagles for like Hotel California. That kind of sound, just light phasing on there. There's flangers. Let's see, go back a couple knobs here. See if we can find a flanger in here somewhere. I got my choruses. There's a lot of stuff in here, so bear with me. All right, analog flanger. Let's see. We'll get our speed, get our depth up, take the mix back a little bit. Let's see what we got. Okay, sweet. I can increase that a little bit, go a little more depth, a little more mix. Let's see what we got. Right? So you can just mess with that kind of stuff. But my point being, you can get a lot of sounds. You can get by with a lot of the sounds in this $120 pedal that are totally going to work at... that 90% of your audience is not going to know the difference. And in a pinch, you can be like, oh yeah, cool. And then, you know, if you can set this up, because it has a bunch of patches, you can set it up into your most popular thing. Good chorus, good tremolo, good flanger, good phaser, you're done. You got your reverbs, everything else on your board already. Let's go for a quick chorus sound. So I'm a huge chorus nut, but I'll show you two different things I'll do with choruses. Here's an analog chorus. So with the analog chorus, I'm going to go very low on the speed and about halfway on the depth and take the mix way down. Now my point for doing this is I just want to do this with the sound, right? I'm not so concerned about having a chorus. So let's hear what we got. Let me turn down my delay a little bit here. Okay, so we got this. When I turn it on, it's very subtle. It's harder to hear, but it just kind of does this to your sound. Now, if I added more of the mix, which is the overall level of the effect, and turned up the speed a little bit, you're going to hear it more. If I added a lot more mix, a little more speed, a big depth, now you start getting into the Stone Temple Pilots, like plush category, stuff like that. Choruses are awesome for that. If I wanted more of like an 80s thing, I would go to what they have is called the tri-chorus. Set the depth up, the mix down just a little bit. The mix to like, let's say, you know, I don't know, 75%. And a tri-chorus was like the synonymous chorus in the 80s. I think it basically stacked 3 choruses on top of each other, but it would give you cool sounds like this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use that pedal for. Now, it has some super cool stuff, some like ring modulators, which just gets into crazy territory. If you're doing Incubus, stuff like that, it's got ring modulators. There's octaves, so you get lower octaves, fuzzes, envelope filters like auto wahs, which like when you play, you get these kind of sounds going. For $120, honestly, you can't beat it. So if the budget's a deal, again, boost pedal like the RC Booster, OD1, the Nobles pedal, the M5, the Echo Park, you're done, seriously. If you're a budget conscious person, maybe a kid that's, you know, he hasn't graduated high school and you're pleading, Dad, Mom, please, I'll die without some pedals. They might swing your way, like, you know, you work real hard for a month or two, maybe kick you down at the end of the month or two. You could sell your brother or sister and, you know, get a couple $100 probably. I don't know. But anyways, that'll work. And between the two boosts, the boost and the overdrive, you'll be able to do all sorts of distortions. You'll be able to do the Hendrix stuff, the delay, the reverbs in the M5, a million different combinations. So those are some things that you can do. Now, if you have a lot of money, and you're into pedals and stuff like that, and you don't know a lot of the different boutique companies, 2 companies I recommend that their pedals are all fan-freaking-tastic: Love Pedal and Wampler. You cannot go wrong with those 2 companies. Their pedals are insane. I love both of those pedal companies. They have all the pedals, right? So they have your choruses, distortions, fuzzes, reverbs, all that stuff. Those 2 companies, again, Wampler, Fuzz Pedal, if you like boutique stuff and you have money to spend, you can't go wrong in their corner. So, love their stuff too. I've had so much of their stuff. I love it. I can't speak highly enough for them. Also, Full Tone makes some great stuff. Customer service, yeah, he's a trippy dude. So, that being said, their stuff's awesome too. There's a million great companies out there now. The Earthquaker Devices, Catlin Bread, a million cool boutique companies. So this is more of what I use. There's a million out there. I've tried a lot. Strymon, super high-end, effecty kind of stuff. Sound great too. But that being said, I've ended up with the cheaper stuff, and I'm super, super happy and super content with my sound, and I find that my board keeps doing this. So find what works with you, learn how to use it, spend the time playing, getting it out of here and not tweaking on the internet like I have done for so many hours when I should have just been getting better at guitar and playing. That's what I use. I hope that helps. Keep the questions coming. Put them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as I can, at least once a week or once every other week. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. I can't thank you enough. Big hug. Catch you next time.